Shorts. Um, who last night watched the Democratic debates? I did. Okay. I watched all the debates. I actually want to see what's going on all sides. Since I'm an independent, I like to know what's going on either on the Democratic side, on the Republican side, on whoever is going to be running for president. I mean, wouldn't you? Doesn't it make sense that you want to find out everything about every candidate you could possibly find out? And it makes sense that you watch these debates because you want to make sure that any question that they ask that may be vital to you and what your existence is, you want to know about. Now, mind you, a lot of these debates, the questioning is preempted. In other words, the people that are doing the debate give all the questions to the candidates, and the candidates know what questions are going to be thrown around, who wants to say what. You know, it's a prepared thing. Now, debating each other on one issue is something that is not really studied. So when you see a back and forth, like in the GOP debates, that was something that wasn't thought out. It's actually pretty cool. And then when you saw the thing with Bernie Sanders and Clinton going back and forth, there's another thing that wasn't planned out. But the thing looked really scripted last night, and Lester Holt actually did a good job of shutting them up when he needed to. I kind of felt bad for O'Malley because, I mean, he's just like dead air. And they didn't really give him structural questions like they needed to, because they know that he really doesn't, his poll numbers are so low that if he was actually to squeak out anything, it would be less than profitable. So that's why I'm saying O'Malley, I kind of feel bad for him at times, but I really, what can you say? He's just one of those guys that he's just up there and he's hanging in there with the, just a little bit of thread, and that's it before he's gone. And I wouldn't be surprised sometimes this week that he says he's going to be gone. But anyway, there were some things that were brought up in the debate that I really wanted to question about. And one of them was about gun control, because we had 3 different views on gun control. And with gun control, it is part of our Constitution. Okay, I don't really care what anybody, GOP or the Democrats, what they say about gun control, because you know what? It is our Constitution. It's in our Constitution. And it's something that's been in there for years and years and years, over 200 years. So why, it's something that works, would they want to mess with it? Now, I do understand some philosophies in there. Why would you need an AR to go hunting? Well, some hunters actually do hunt with them. I've actually seen them on a hunting trail. And I've actually, I don't agree with some weapons and some weapon bans or whatever you have with them. But you know what? That's your right to have one if you want. Just like music. Some people don't like rap music because it's got all the cursing in it, and it's, got some foul things about people. They even got some, I remember a song came out called Cop Killer once. Now, I don't like it. A lot of people don't like it. But it's your right. I mean, America was built on free speech. And you're allowed to have weapons. And guns are part of the weapons thing. So that's why, when it comes to our Constitution, we should never ever let anything stand in the way of our freedom. And if we're going to regulate our freedom, then why do we even exist with a Constitution? So that is one thing. The second thing that rang my bell was all this free stuff. Bernie and Hillary have this wonderful thing about everything should be free. Now, healthcare, it is something that's super important. A lot of the world is doing universal health care. And in some parts of the world, healthcare has really made a big difference. And and they've got it so streamlined that it isn't that big of a problem for their national budgets. But America hasn't learned how to do it right. America's, what we do is what when they rolled out Obamacare, which it's, that's just this nickname, Obamacare. When they rolled it out with hundreds and hundreds of pages of just nonsense, and that's basically all it was, because just to fire it up, it took so many years just to fire it up and get going, and have so many failures with it. It just was insane. So it really wasn't that good of a startup. So now that people have it, and now that people are dealing with it, nobody, when you give somebody something for free, nobody wants to step back and not get it for free no more. That's why with all these things that they're giving out, that Bernie and Hillary want to give away for free, once they get used to it, once you get somebody used to something free, and then you cannot budget for it no more, then you've lost credibility, and your party loses credibility. And that's what I see a lot of, and the Democrats have done it for years and years and years. I used to be a Democrat, and I had to leave the party because it got to be so ridiculous that I couldn't take this type of nonsense. Free, 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 free. I got tired of the welfare system because it was putting very healthy girls and young men and women, putting them into a world of me. And that's what I mean by is, it's me, free, everything free for me. That's all there is to it. And a lot of youngsters, they go for it. I have, people that I know. I'm not going to tell you who they are, but I know people personally that have lived on the system all their lives, and don't pay taxes because they're living off the system, and they've learned how to manipulate the system. That's why, when the Democrats say free, there's always going to be somebody to manipulate it. So why put something out there that's free? What's wrong with working for something? When I was growing up, I wanted to buy a European bicycle, touring bike, because I wanted, back then I wanted to be a bike rider and professional. Well, my stepdad told me, if you want to buy something, I'm not going to give it to you. You go out there and you work for it. So back then I got a paper route, and I also did some part-time work for other people, like at a gas station and stuff. I cleaned up around a gas station, did a few other things, and I ended up buying that bike. I paid $800 for that bike, and that was back in the 70s, and I ended up paying up a big bucks for a bike that I really wanted, but I saved up for it, and I made the money, and I paid for it, something that I wanted. So that's the way I was raised. You want something, you work for it, and you get it. When my son broke his arm, I wasn't given a handout, and you know what? I wasn't even going to accept a handout. I paid that bill off, just like when he was born. I paid that bill off a little bit at a time, but I did pay it off. And I worked hard to pay it off. So there's nothing wrong with working hard and paying things off. But in today's world, if you want to keep giving stuff away free, these kids are never going to learn the value of working. And that's where America goes wrong. We stopped teaching our kids the value of working. So when you watch the Democratic debate last night, that was a big thing. Everything has got to be free, and then they're going to talk about how they're going to pay for it. But they're not showing numbers, which what really cracks me up about all this stuff is there's no numbers anywhere. Nothing. Nobody's giving any calculations. You know why? Because they're staggering. They're absolutely staggering. Anybody that knows math, you count the people in your house, You times that by, you know, X amount of dollars of what your medical bills are, and then you transfer that to the state, to the city, the state, the country, and you will get a staggering amount of money that the federal government has to come up with in order to provide free health care for everybody, including migrants. I mean, illegals, in other words. So, we got into a bunch of heated stuff for that. And then the Hillary lies. Even O'Malley told Hillary she was lying. And I was shocked last night on Twitter. I have friends on both ends of the parties. I've got Republican friends and I've got Democratic friends on Twitter. And I was shocked to see how many people actually said Hillary was lying, and they really ate her up for that. I mean, you know, the problem is that she really is lying. And, you know, a lot of people have not seen the recklessness of her service over the last few years. It's like she knows she's untouchable. She knows it because, you know, the FBI isn't going to do nothing. You know, all these investigations are just all talk. Why? Because she's a politician, and most politicians get away with whatever they want. She's responsible for 4 deaths in Benghazi, and nobody will ever prosecute her for it. Nobody. Plus, she's doing this email stuff, and Bernie wants the emails to go away. Sure, he wants the emails to go away. You know what? It's covering up his campaign. Sure, he wants the emails to go away because it's covering his name. It's just putting her name out there. That's why he wants the emails to go away. It has nothing to do with his prosperity or his dignity. What it is it's taking up precious time in the news for him. So he wanted that, you know, the email stuff to go away. Bernie, it's not going to go away. It's going to haunt her. So there was a lot more on there, but I only have 15 minutes to talk. And I sure hope you learned something from it. I did. And I also learned something from the GOP race too. Now we got the caucuses coming up. And as soon as those start getting fired up and both parties go head to head, this is going to be where things get really juicy. And you really find out a lot about the person that you're backing. I'm not telling you who I'm going to back because on Twitter I made the mistake of saying who I wasn't going to back, and I got hate DMs like you could not believe. I mean, I can't believe this early in people are actually taking offense to who I might and might not back. Who knows? Things may change. Things may change, but I was shocked. When I said it, I actually got like 20 in a row DMs telling me I'm not a patriot. I'm not a U.S. citizen that go back to Mexico and stuff like that, even though I'm 5th generation in this country, dodos. So anyway, if somebody starts to do that, that just tells you that they have no idea what an election's all about. Because when they fall off and start calling you names like that, and then they have a thing about correcting your spelling on Twitter. Twitter is 140 characters, and we change stuff all the time on Twitter, and they have the gall, the audacity to do that, telling you they don't really have it all up here. Plus, I have spell check, and one of the names came out wrong because they spell check corrected it, and I didn't really proofread it, and I sent it, and this clown has the audacity to it challenged me on it, and I told him, you know what, I'm also deaf too. Can you want to hit me up on that too? You know, people with disabilities. So, you know what, it just drives me nuts. But you'll find out that it's interesting. Thanks for watching the debates with me, and thanks for watching the Grandpa Ken Show. We'll get together again when the caucuses come out, and we'll see how they fend from there. And whoever your candidate is, if you back them up, just remember one thing. You're an American. You have the right to vote for who you want to vote for. Just hope that that person runs the country a lot better than what it's going right now. This is Grandpa Ken. I'm out.